So welcome back. So in this session, we will see something different than what we were doing so far, and it is related to the identifying the elements. So before we were doing the identifying that elements based on the by find by, right? So as you can see, find by, or we have seen in recent sessions, we have seen how we can use just the by locators only. So we have two options, right? Either we can use the find by with the PageFactory, and then we can use the by locator itself and then send it through the util command. So if you see this one, let me go to this one. So if you see the util command, I mean util class, you can see here we were sending that by locator here, then util dot click and then this by locator. Then we were trying to wait for that particular element, and if that element is present, then we will just click it. So two ways we have seen, right? One is by find by and another is by with by locate. Okay, by locator. So today we will see. So one thing with this was whenever you have Android and iOS application, both are different actually. Okay, that's where actually you can implement this particular way of identifying the elements. And then we have even segregated, also segregated in terms like we had done one Android and then iOS separately. Because few of the applications in real time behavior or the functionality or the navigations were different actually with respect to Android and iOS. Like one quick example I can give, even we have discussed that at the beginning of the appium series, that we have something called as a action sheet. So in iOS you will see an action sheet. So if you click on something, let's say there is a drop down, if you click on that drop down, all the options will pop up from the bottom of your mobile. Okay, so that is nothing but action sheet. Whereas in Android, you might see a normal drop down like you see in your web applications, right? This is one. Another example which I can give is that picker wheels. So picker wheels are basically the wheels where you can select. You might have seen that in most of the calendars. If you see in the iOS app calendars, it will be like a what do you call, like a picker wheel. You need to select one by one to do that, whereas in case of your Android it will be like a normal I mean drop down only. Just to show you that, let me show you that how exactly that looks like. Okay, so here is the Android and iOS. So this is my Android simulator and this is my iOS simulator. So I have used one of the sample app, that is the app. The sample app is developed by the appium lead, that is Jonathan Lips, who is the founder of appium. So he made this the app. It's a open source code, so I just cloned it from here, and they have these releases also. You can just pick up the application from here, be it on IPA for real device, APK for the your simulate Android simulator or real device, and then if you are using a iOS simulator, you can pick up the .app.zip file. So I've just picked up from here. I will share this link into the description so that you can refer later. Okay, so this application, Android and iOS, pretty much it is looking same, but there are few differences are there, which like as I told is that one is the action sheet and then there is another one is the picker wheel. So if you see the picker wheel here, there is a picker demo. So he developed this one, and then if you see here, so this is nothing but your picker wheel. This is specific to Android, iOS only. Wherever if you see, this is like a normal drop down only, which you see like list view, which you see normally in the web applications, right? So sometimes the way we will handle these elements are not same as we handle these elements, Android elements. So that's why this is just an example, but in real time most of the applications for both Android and iOS have developed in different way of navigations, so you can't just handle in one set of code base. But so if it is that scenario, then you can use the whichever we were discussing, like you can make separate Android as a package and then iOS as a package, and then you can write different way of identifying the elements, and then you can make the specific test towards the Android and iOS. Okay, but let's say that there is a static application or a simple application which we wanted to do an automation, and where exactly the Android and iOS is pretty much same actually. So if it is almost like, let's say that 80 to 90% of your app navigations are same in both Android and iOS, then you might not want to spend time into segregating the Android and iOS and repeating the same locators in both of the packages. So for that, actually, appium has this feature called as Android find by, and then iOS is the XQE test find by is there. So we can use this find by annotations, and we can identify the elements at the same time for both Android and iOS. So for that, I have taken this particular feature from this app, is that echo box. So if you see this echo box in both Android and iOS, it is pretty much same actually. If you see here, the text box, there is a text box, there is a save button, and then there is something you can identify whatever the text is there in that. Okay, so I will take this particular module, and then we will try to automate with a single set of code. Okay, so let's get started. For this, actually, first thing we need to do is that we need to set up the app package and app activity, and then bundle id. So I have already this app package and app activity. Let me quickly change that. Okay, and then the same thing, there is a bundle id for the iOS as well. Let me copy paste that as well. Okay, so we are set with the identifying the application from the simulators or the real device, whichever you are using. Okay, so iFactory is done. Now let's just minimize this one. Okay, now as I said, we need to use the Android find by and then XQ find by. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a new package. So let's not interfere into this existing. I'll do one thing. I'll create a new package, and then I will say that find by. Okay, so under this package we will distribute everything, or we will add all of our related stuff. So let me create a PO, and this page object will be holding the objects for both Android and iOS, because single setup code we need to use, right? The same thing, we will create another package, and that would be test case. Even the test case will be also same. Okay, so there will be only one test for both Android and iOS, but the execution will be different. We will see that. Okay, so let me create a page object class here, and let's give this as home page. So now for this, what I will do, first let me copy paste the page factory, because we will be using the find by, right? Android find by, and then iOS XQE test find by. So for that, what I will do, you are already familiar with this particular stuff, so let me quickly import the classes. Okay, so before moving into this, let me show you how we can identify that real quick. We have already seen, but let me give you a quick glance about that. So I have run my IPM server. Let me go to the inspector, and then let me select the capabilities. So if you see, the capabilities for the Android is pretty much the same only. Only I have changed the app package and app activity. Okay, now let me start session so that I can get a preview of the Android. Okay, so if I click on this, you will see there is a identifier is coming, that is nothing but the Android widget text view, and the text is echo box. Okay, so I will be using XPath for this. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a Android find by. So Android, you can see there is a Android find by. So there are so many options, like you can see find by, find all, find by, find by set. So these are basically inherited from the Selenium find by. Okay, so if you would have before experienced the Selenium find by stuff, it is pretty much same, just there is another keyword or annotation is Android, specific to the Android application elements. That's the only difference is there. Okay, so I will select Android find by. If you see, this Android find by is coming from the Java client PageFactory. Okay, so it's because we are using the PageFactory, right? So this is coming from this PageFactory package. Okay, now here what I will do, I will use a bracket and I will give an XPath, right, equal to, and let me copy paste this one. If you see here, until the echo box I need to copy paste, and this should be within a double quote. Okay, and this escape characters, let's remove these things, put it as a single quote. Okay, and there will be a square bracket, and then I need to provide that element name. So public web element, you can give mobile element as well, there is no problem. And this is my echo box item, right, which I need to click it. That's how Android is there. Now if you, now let's do one thing, let's go to the, and the same thing, let me quickly show you the other ones. If I go back to this one and then refresh the screen, I have all the IDs actually here. Okay, you can see this one, this is nothing but my message input, that is my content description, and then this save button is this message save button. Now once you enter something, so let's say that I'm keeping some value, and then this will appear. So this is bit tricky. If I click on this, you will see there is no specific ID. Okay, because this ID is taking about the value actually whatever we are sending. I mean whatever we are entering here. So what I'm doing, I will be doing this trick. I will take this XPath, but I will be making it dynamic. So whatever value we are assigning, we are entering here, or whatever text we are entering here, that will go under this for the verification. So whatever we are adding here, that should populate here. We need to do a validation right at the end. That's what we are going to do. So hold on to this, I will be letting you know how we can achieve that. Okay, and then here I will be showing also, because at the beginning I said, right, if both of the Android and iOS is almost like 70 to 80% are same, then you can follow. But what about the 20% of that functionality which you can't do actually similarly? We will see how we can handle that also. So with the same example we will try to handle that scenario also. So hold on to that thought, we will see that in couple of minutes after. Okay, let me launch the iOS one. So let me go to the iOS inspector. So it's pretty much same, I've kept everything, only changed the bundle ID. Now let me start session. If you go to the iOS, it will close and launch the app into the simulator and the preview. Okay, you can see it is coming as a preview of the iOS app. The same thing, I will click on this, you will see accessibility ID is echo box. Sometimes the ID is not working, then you can take the XPath as well. So you can see here accessibility is there, and then you have something called as type, name, label, so anything you can pick it up. So you can see you can take it with the XPath as at the rate name as a echo box as well. So let me just copy paste this one, or directly I can use this echo box as a accessibility ID. So for that what I will do, so Android is done. So we used to do only find by, right? Here we can write two annotations. This is iOS XQ test. Okay, and this is coming under the PageFactory itself only. And then because why I'm taking this XQ test, because now the driver which we are using for the iOS is XQ test, right, or the framework, test framework for iOS. That's why I'm taking iOS XQt find by. Okay, and you can see here all the available what do you call identifiers are there. So I can use the accessibility, iOS class chain, and then iOS NS predicate value also I can use, ID, class name, tag name, XPath. So all of this, any one of these locator I can use to identify that element. So I will be taking the accessibility here. Okay, so let me take the accessibility equal to echo box. Okay, so this is my, that's it. Now with one variable I can identify the Android and iOS both actually. So the same thing pretty much I have to do for all of the elements, right? So let's see here one by one. Let me open that IPM simulator as well. So I will be clicking on this, and then I will go back to this one, and then here let me identify this one. You will see there is a message input, this is again coming as a XPath. The save button has also a what do you call, save button also has a XPath and this text, because we want to validate at the end, right? Yes, we do have an ID. So in case of Android we didn't have, but in iOS it is there. So these are small kind of differences between them, it will be there. So this can be actually solvable, like you can request your developer to add an ID for Android as well. But let's say that for some reason you are not getting proper response from the development, but you have to complete your test automation, then without getting the response from the developer, how we will be handling in between different what you call platforms like Android and iOS, the way it is behaving, that we will be seeing here. Okay, so all these options like text box, button, and this text, whatever it is coming, these three things I have already identified. Let me put it one by one to save time. Okay, so here you can see this is my echo box, the item which I need to click. This is the text box where I want to enter the text, save button, and this is where actually my saved text. So if you see here in my, in the application, this is actually the saved text actually. I did not keep it for the Android because there is no specific identifier is there. On the runtime, we need to identify that element based on what text we have entered, right? So that's pretty much about the identifiers. Now let's create the test case based on the identifiers we have created. So I will just keep sample test, creating a test ng test actually. So just to save time, let me copy paste the test ng test method. So this is pretty much what we have. Okay, so what I'm doing, first I'm clicking on the echo box after launching the application, and then I'm sending the text and then clicking on the save button. I did not verify yet. Now how do we identify that? Because if you see the Android and iOS, these both are behaving differently, right? If you see here, I have an ID actually for this one, Android iOS one, but whereas in Android I don't have an ID. So I need to say the framework, if it is Android then take this XPath, if it is iOS then take that directly element which we identified. So we need to find a way where we need to, on the runtime, we need to get the value of that which platform we are running currently, is it Android or iOS. So before we have seen already this one in our test engine listener. So if I quickly navigate to the test engine listener, if you see here, we have something called as a platform. On the runtime we are getting that, but this is based on the result actually. I mean from the test-ng XML we are getting that. So from here we are getting. Okay, but into this test case I can't get that actually. So we still have some option actually. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is the way actually I can get the platform. Let me import. Okay, so now let me explain this one. So remote WebDriver. So app driver dot get WebDriver. We have seen already how we are getting the driver already. Get capabilities, and then we are getting the specific capability of platform name. From where it is coming, if you see here in the app factory, we have something called as platform name, which is iOS or Android. So based on what we are executing from the what do you call execution, it is fetching that particular platform name, if it is Android or iOS. Now based on this platform actually we can play with our stuff actually, whatever we need. Okay, okay, so what I will do here, now let me copy paste this set of code. Okay, so here if you see platform, so based on this platform, if it is Android, equal ignore case, because sometimes we are making it as P capital or small, so based on that we will be changing that. Okay, so if you see here what I'm doing, I'm taking, okay, by, let me import. See, as I told, Android don't have any specific element, right? It has only this Android widget text view, but the content description changes. I mean, this value changes based on what we are entering into that box. So that's why what I did, I made this as dynamic. This input directly I'm using here. So this is the way we can use it in the XPath is displayed. Why I'm making this one? Because let's say that I am entering there as QAB box. Now the text whatever it is displaying for me, if this particular element I can identify if it is displaying or not, then I will come to a conclusion that whatever I entered is really displaying there. That's how I am making it. Okay, so this is respect to the Android. What if it is iOS? Directly I have this echo saved text, right? If I go to this one, I have already this one, so I need not to do that handling actually here. Directly I can say dot get attribute of value should be equal to the input whatever getting, I'm entering actually. So this is my actual one which I'm fetching from the application, and this is what I have entered it. If both are equal, then my test case become pass. So that's how actually we are maintaining the test actually. You can do different ways, like you can keep this one into a different utility method or a common method, and you can call it anytime. So depending on what kind of framework, what kind of structure you are using, folder structure, you can get this, I mean you can utilize, but the concept is the same. I mean you have to use this concept to get the differentiation. So if any test cases you want to differentiate between Android and iOS, any portion of that particular module, you can use this getting the platform, and then using that platform, based on that platform you can handle the scenarios. Okay, so every time actually you need not to get this platform, you can just make a static method actually, in that you can just return this platform. So wherever you want to call, you can call this platform. Based on that you can handle the scenario. You can do that as well. Because I have only one test case, that's why I have mentioned here, but you can keep it into the base class, I mean base package, and you can access it whenever you want. Okay, so now we are done with the page object model. Also, this is basically our page object model, right? But it is not a completed one, because we have only the objects, we don't have the actions. But before going into that, let's try to run this code just to verify whether it is working fine for both Android and iOS or not. So for that, we have already set the what do you call, the appium server is running. If you see here, let's see if the appium server is, yeah, appium server is running here, and then we are even stopping the server. Let's put some weight actually here. Sometimes what happens, we have experienced it takes some time actually to stop the server, so that's why I'm keeping this as 3 seconds after this, so that it will take some time and then it will stop the test case execution. Now let's go to the test.ng XML. So if you see, this is a different one, right? Let me comment this one, and then we will add the test case of our own. So here is the main magic happens actually, because your test case is same, one test case for both Android and iOS. Your page object is the same for both Android and iOS. Now how do we run it actually individually for Android or iOS? That's where actually this XML comes into the picture. So here what I will do, I'll make class and then name equal to find by dot, I will make it as test case dot sample test. Okay, this is how I will mention here. Fine. Now see here what happens if, because this sample test is coming from the platform as Android, if I run this particular test case, it will run with Android driver only. Because if you see here, test engine listener platform that is coming from the XML basically brings the Android. So this condition is matching, and it will launch the Android application. Why it will launch the Android application? Because we have the capabilities here. That's how these things are interlinked. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, let me do one thing. I will close this server, so that we will run the server from our code itself only. Okay, so now let's run this Android test case, and let me pull out the simulator as well. So here you can see the server started from here. It means that from the framework the server is starting, and it is launching the application. Okay, and then it is entering. Yes, it verified as well, because that assertion got passed and let's wait for some time. Yes, you can see this should got passed. Okay, so that's how Android is there. See, we have only that set. Now I'm not changing anything in the code. Let me run the iOS test also. For that, just I need to do one change actually. So instead of this, what I will do, let me comment this one, the existing one, and here what I will do, I'll use the same test only. If it is a different test, then I would have mentioned this iOS test case and everything. But now because it is the same test, I can just copy paste that test only. Now let's bring out the simulator here, iOS simulator, and let's see if my appium server stopped. Okay, appium server got stopped here. Okay, so now let's run this iOS test, and let me bring the simulator. Okay, server started from here, from the code itself only. It will take some time to install the WebDriver agent runner. Yeah, it installed. Okay, so it you can see the test case got passed. Even this assertion also is done. This assertion whatever we are making right with respect to Android and iOS, that is also executed. Now if you see this particular code base is pretty much working fine actually, but we can't say this is proper page object model with respect to the page factory pattern, right? Because we are keeping everything here only. Now let's try to quickly move it to a page object model, and we'll see how that will help us to what do you call, make it more readability, this test case, because we have all the implementations here, right? Let's try to make it as more user friendly or readability. So for that, what I will do, I will create let me do one thing. Let me change this to home page underscore old, so that I can create a new one. And then this sample test also, let me refactor and rename this one to sample underscore old. Okay, fine. Now let me add another Java class, and I will say home page. Okay, and this will actually hold all my page objects and also the actions that I'm going to use actually there. So the same concept will retain here. Okay, sometimes what happens, I can even ignore this one. Okay, but my test case will fail. So for that, what I will do, because let's say that if I have 10 different screens are there, so every screen I have to mention that PageFactory.init element, right, in the constructor. So to avoid that, what I can do, I can create a new Java class, and I will say pages, and here what I will do, I will mention that particular oops, sorry, I will mention this page factory here actually. And now my job is to keep this one in all of the I mean inherit this particular class in all of the page classes, so that I need not to write in every new page object I need to create. So how do I do that? I will go here and I will say extends and then pages. That's it. Now I need not to write the page factory dot init element here, because we have already done that in the pages. Okay, so all these things will remain same. Now let's try to uh, write the actions actually in this. Okay, so these are my basically the actions you can see here. What I'm doing, first I'm navigating to the echo box item, that is nothing but echo box dot click, because I have already here, right? So directly I can use, I need not to create an object of this particular class. They say I'm entering something, so echo text box dot send keys. This text basically I will send from the test case actually. Okay, and then save text, saving this one, and at the end I will verify whether that particular saved text is present or not. The same thing, I will just copy paste all of these methods actually, these methods inside this newly created class. So what I will do, I will copy paste this one, and here you can see everything, and let me import. Okay, so this is how I'm making the methods, small methods, so that it will be easy for me to understand also. So now what I will, so here if you see I'm getting some error, let me just quickly fix that one. Okay, so if you see I'm keeping these assertions inside the page object. Some says that we should not keep these assertions inside the page object, but I would say that if it is sufficing your need, then it's okay to what you call keep the assertions inside the page object. Or else what you even you can do that, this verified safe text whatever it is coming, right, like this get attribute value or else find element, these things you can send it back to your what you call test case. Actually you can create a method which will return that particular what you call value, that text, and you can directly assert it in your test case also. But that is kind of a repeating of your the same lines in both page object and also in your test case. So that's why I would prefer to keep it here only. Okay, so now one by one I need to call. So for that what I will do, I will create a new class and I will say that sample test. Okay, now here what I will do, okay, here I will call those particular tests one by one. Simple, as simple as that. Okay, so as you can see here, let me import. Okay, now you can see here. Now the test case looks very neat and clean, right? And the readability is also more, because let me compare. Let me close everything here. Close all. If I keep my old and new, so this is my old test case, right, the steps, and this is my new one. You can see how neatly it is there, and if somebody will see this particular test case, they can understand that one user is going to the echo box, clicking on that, so navigating basically. Once inside the echo box screen, they are entering some value actually here, then saving the text. Then the next step is they are verifying whether whatever they have entered is really populating there or not there. And all the implementations we have kept inside this particular class, actually page object class. So now if you run this one, see another thing also, this home page we have kept only in one page. Even you can segregate this one. If you see on the home page, you are only seeing this one only, all other things will be inside echo box. So you can create another page object called as echo box page, and from here to here everything you can copy paste in that newly created echo box page, and you can fetch those values into here, into your test case. So till home page dot navigate to echo box, from here it will be like what you call echo box page dot this one, so it will be more understanding. So if you see tomorrow, you will say that okay, in home page I am navigating, in echo page I am performing all these actions actually. So that will be, even the readability will be more. This is just a sample, so that's why I'm creating. You can take this as a task and you can create your own actually. And your basically your other things like your basic setup will not change, that will remain as it is only. Just to prove you, let me quickly run this particular test, because my test in xml will not change, because oh okay, it got changed. Let me just run the sample test only, the same thing my iOS as well. Okay, let me first run the Android one, and let me keep the simulator here. Oh, it didn't run. Okay, it is running. Okay, everything is finished. If you see here, it is even passed here. It was minimized, the output window. Okay, the same thing if you run the iOS also, it will work as usual. So that is the way actually you can integrate the page factory with page object model and single set of page object and test case for both Android and iOS. So I'm just trying to what you call give the information about different possible features of IPM, making the framework depending on the situation, depending on the what you call application behavior. or the difference between Android and iOS, you can follow whatever the framework stuff you want. It all depends on, see, the framework when we talk, it is not limited to some kind of strict guidelines. If some framework is really working for you guys, then I would prefer that continue with that, because sometimes it is kind of a trade-off. Either you spend more time into the framework designing and the test coverage might be compromised. So think about that. So with minimal changes, with simplifying the framework, how can you achieve the test case coverage a lot, test coverage more? So I mean, people might be giving you all different options. You might get hundreds of different framework ways, but we can't implement all those ways into our what do you call framework, just because there is a framework available. I can't just fit into my existing framework. If some framework is really working for you, there is no issues, I would say that stop developing or stop enhancing the framework there, and then focus more into the test coverage. Actually, you can add more number of test cases so that you can cover more functionality in that. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much about it. So stay tuned. We will see some more appium features, or we can integrate some other features also into this framework to make it more understandable and flexible. Okay, so thank you for watching.